Good afternoon and welcome once again to another exciting edition of Inside ProCents, where our purpose is very simple: to showcase our members, to shed a little light on the value that ProCents is providing to our industry players, and most of all, to let you hear that value directly from our members' lips. My name is Devin Anderson, and I'm the president here at ProCents, and I'm joined once again by my friends and ProCents leadership team, Mr. J.R. Edens, a ProCents partner, and our CEO, Mr. Matt Russell. Matt, would you like to say a few words?
It's kind of getting redundant, but I'm excited for this. but but this one, unlike all the others, it's a category that we don't talk about a lot. So solar has a very large upside, and I think, like EV charging is going to be pushed a lot heavier over the next couple years, into the next decade. So if we can learn about it and have a strong partnership like with Sol and Keith here, I think it's only the tip of the iceberg, and I'm excited for it and what everyone can learn from it.
Yeah, I agree. And this is, just, it should be noted, we've catered and focused on the LED and controls side of the world for the most part within ProCents, but we are pushing the categories that I think the rest of our members are looking to engage. And that's why this is an important one for me. We brought in, the whole solar category. Keith was our first to drop in there, and he's got some really good products and solutions out here that I think need a little bit more attention than what we've given it so far. So today we are featuring one of our sellers, and he's within, again, as we talked about, the solar category within the ProCents environment. Mr. Keith Strausbaugh. Did I pronounce that right? Because I don't think I've ever pronounced it.
Yeah, you got it correct.
Right on. Okay. Of Soul by Sunna Design. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Keith, and welcome to Inside ProCents.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Right on. All right, here we go. Let's get this party started. As always, let's begin by shining a light on you and your organization with a little self-promotion. So tell us a bit about your organization and give some context for the support expectation that our members can expect when engaging you and the Soul by Sunna Design solutions front end during the project and on the back end where so many manufacturers, and from my perspective, fall short.
Yep. So to just to start the introduction of it, so you'll hear us say Soul by Sunna Design, and Soul has basically been the North American leader in solar lighting for probably about the past 30 years. So we have installations out there, in federal municipalities and everything. They've been out there for 30 years, and they've been out there for a while. Sunna, who's a French-based company, acquired Sol just at the beginning of the virus. So let's say 2 years ago. And then what that did is it brought emphasis on what their technology is overseas. They were one of the people that first invented the all-in-one, and brought it to kind of incorporate with Sol, who's always been here in the States, who has the more robust, we'll call it NEMA designed solar light, okay, a little bit more robust, and for doing some heavier things. So as far as the support and what to expect from us, and some of the ProCents team members have already dealt with me, is when you have a project, you can contact me, us, and we will first ask you a few little simple questions. We'll get location, because solar is all about the location and the solar autonomy and what can be done. You can't do the same package in Minnesota that you can do in Texas, but you can do it every place. So the first thing that you'll get from us is asking questions about where it is, what are the expectations of light, because we're solar and we're light, what expectations you need for light levels, what you're trying to light up, things like that. We'll take that information, decide which of our solutions are best. We'll do a full-blown design based on the Google map and doing AGI and do the lighting design. And we'll bring that package back to the ProCents member to go over and evaluate, okay, to try to bring it into a proposal that they can take to their customer and be knowledgeable about what they have. When it comes to an order in the middle, as you're saying, pretty much simple. We get the order in, processed, we'll get you your delivery dates and things like that. But what's more important flip side, on the after install, we have a lot of videos, we have manuals, we have everything you need already there as far as support to do installs. And we have a team that could even come out if you need it. So we're pretty robust on this. Again, Sol's been doing it for quite a long time. So a lot of that is still in existence here in North America.
Right on, right on. I can tell you from my own experience with you, you're one of the things I love is how detailed you are, and how fast you get the details out, which is all part of the ProCents culture, which is why we match so well. And I think it's it's just only going to get better as we grow the environment. So let's dig a little bit now into kind of the product. Soul by Sunna Design offers two categories that I saw on the website and that we've talked about: the all-in-one, and of course the IoT system solutions that you guys have. Each provides a unique economical pathway whereby the install process is greatly reduced. No trenching, no wiring is a big piece, which I think is really something I'd like you to touch on. Saving time and money all in the process of actually designing on the front end and getting that stuff installed, and the time savings that gets involved in, which we all know time is money. Can you expand on this so that our audience can understand the benefits of working with what you guys provide?
Okay, so solar lighting, basically in general, the first thing you're going to get is, there's no infrastructure required. If you're putting up new construction, you're eliminating all the trenching, all the copper wiring, everything, which is on a labor, labor cost is quite substantial. And you're getting a lot of places now in new construction, and even where you're trying to put lighting where there is no infrastructure. On the environmental side, people do not want to disturb the ground. There's permitting required. There's, the digging, everything else that's going to do that. With this, you can base mount a pole, or you can direct burial a pole nowadays. So, and we can do fiberglass poles, we get aluminum poles, whatever kind of poles you need. So that's on the trenching side. The big thing about all this solar lighting is also, it's a sustainability KPI for people. So when they're looking for the green, the sustainability KPI, they're going to get that. And the biggest thing is also the resiliency. Obviously, you're not going to pay for power. That's pretty much of a no-brainer. But it's the resiliency, as if the grid goes down, and you're seeing a lot of articles right now about people should expect to have their grids go down coming this summer with heat waves and things like that. Grid goes down, you still have your lighting on your parking lot or your street. So that's a security factor, as well as just, a benefit of it being there. Our product is kind of, you mentioned it, is divided up into, we have the all-in-one, which is pretty much everything's there. The panel, the light, everything is in a panel, and you put that in. It can be used in a variety of locations, okay? But again, we do the solar autonomy study to tell you what you can do with that product. We manufacture that on our own. Then we have what I'm going to call our full-blown system, which is our UP system. Both the UP and the all-in-one came from the Sunna legacy. And you heard me talk about earlier, the Sol legacy, which was here in the United States, is a more robust system with more batteries, where you'll hear the terminology 2-panel, 3-battery systems. They're more robust. And when we're doing those packages, you're going to get more lighting profiles, which is the education of solar lighting, which I can do for anybody at any time. The lighting profiles are, what do you want that light to do overnight? And if you want it to be on dusk to dawn, on full, at its full capacity, well, you have to size the system correctly. So most of our dusk to dawn applications are going to fall into our Evergen product, a little bit more robust. Meets all the Buy America, Made in America type requirements you need. Every product that we have, all-in-ones, which are the ISIL series, the UP series, and the Evergen, all have a 10-year warranty. We're the only manufacturer out there to have a 10-year warranty. The difference in the competitors or the other solar lighting that you see out there is a lot of it is white labeled from overseas. It's smaller. They don't really have a big solution, alternative fixtures. It's just, we're going to stick this small thing on a pole. And most of the time, the capacities that they're talking about are not doable. We're going to be upfront and tell you which solution will work in your application. And then the customer and us as a team can decide probably what's the best on an economical standpoint, on a performance standpoint, on what can actually be done. And then also for everything that we have, everything has an app to do the installation, going on the installation side. All has an app so you can adjust everything, and everything is connected through not LoRa or any other thing where you need extra type of network devices. It's all satellite based. So the minute you fire our units up, we give you access that you can go right online and see any installation you have and how it's performing.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I think the key verbiage out of all of that is talk to Keith early,
Yes.
right? Because the
Yep.
planning stage is on the front end, whether you're going to actually run trenches and wiring, or whether you don't need to do so based on the area and the type of fixture that might be involved, the environment, the actual weather patterns, everything that goes into that planning process. The sooner you talk, the more you get in the front end on that design, the better chance your project's going to be successful. So I think it's exciting. So you guys are, okay, so you're our first solar company within the environment. You chose to become part of ProCents fairly early in our entry into, our relaunch. This is not one of the questions that I was planning to ask, but I'd love to hear from you. Like, why did you adopt ProCents? What made you think that it was a good idea? And on the other side, what have you experienced with ProCents as we've kind of slowly grown? Takes time. You're a niche company, right? So this is not something that is, widely needed by every single person on every single project. This is very application specific, which can take a little bit more time and takes more patience, to be a part of something like this. What have you seen thus far that makes you feel positive about the fact that you entered and that the future looks like a good marriage between our two organizations?
Well, besides the dogs going crazy on the UPS guy, which would, be all afternoon, nobody'd come and then they'd go. What got me with ProCents right away is it allowed me, myself, and our company, because we are, like you said, we're niche, we're smaller, we're not, 300 people or whatever. So it allows me to get in an environment where there's people that are focused on that same type of goals, selling energy efficient projects. Some of the people that I've dealt with so far in the ProCents environment, a lot of what I'm going to call the tier 2 ESCOs that are members here, dealing with them and introducing myself to them, and the projects that they either have been working on with regular LED lighting to see, is there an alternative, what could be done, or new projects entirely where their customers are asking for more sustainability or solar lighting. Matt mentioned the EV chargers. All this is going to start bubbling up and building up more and more as the technology becomes more efficient, the efficacy of the LED fixtures, what you could do with solar lighting 10 years ago. I mean, Sol's so old, we have existing installations of solar lighting with fluorescent and high pressure sodium out there. So we have a big retrofit business as well. So if you trip over old solar lighting, we're one of the only solar lighting companies in North America that supports everything we've been sticking in for 20, 30 years. Most of them have fallen by the wayside. So not only do we have new existing stuff, we also have the retrofit opportunity for things that are there. So that's why I knew the ProCents environment, by working as a team, having focused people doing things like we're doing here, learning and webinars, and just that general camaraderie would help us expand the message, not only of Sol and Sunna Design, but of solar lighting in general, to educate the market, because there's tons of different kinds of LED lighting. As we all know, you guys are definitely in the LED world. There's good, there's bad, and the ugly. Like I say, when the solar lighting world, it just follows the same deal. And solar lighting's kind of weird because we're lighting and we're solar. So it's almost like we don't fit in either world, but we're part of both. In a way, we're like the Grateful Dead of the solar and the lighting world. We're the strange one where everybody wants to be a part of it.
Absolutely. You're straddling the line, my friend.
There you go. There you go.
That's awesome. All right. Well, now we've reached the part of the show, which always gets to be interesting because, with a glass of scotch in one hand, a stogie in the other, this man will eventually be known as cool, calm, and collected, the master, the myth, the legend, Mr. Matt Russell, our CEO. Mr. Russell, you may take the floor.
And it makes me want to fire up a stogie and pour me a glass of scotch real quick. Get a little bit more comfortable. Well, the thing I love about solar is the aspects of growth. Everyone got into LED lighting 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever it was, because they saw an uptick. Solar's seeing more of the uptick. And I think now with panels and the output and what they're able to do along with batteries, it's becoming more, digestible for the most consumers, on the price tag. But that being said, in most industries, we've always leaned on large corporations and government. And one of the things that impressed me was your impressive resume of federal government contracts that you've had with, all branches of the military. Can you just talk about, that right there and the trust factor that these entities and the government have provided into Sol by Sunna, and what that has taught you and also gives the consumer in both the commercial and industrial markets?
Mhm. So just a little caveat on that. So obviously I haven't been in solar lighting for 30 years, as long as Sol has. So I worked a lot with Schneider Electric for many years doing energy projects, and then Philips. And that's what kind of guided me into the Sol world. And Sol, because I knew they had a big presence in the federal government world and DOD specifically. And a lot of that was driven from the Bush era energy initiatives when everything was turning green. And I always said, DOD was always one of the most green customers you could find, regardless of what anybody thinks. The DOD does it. So the legacy installations, they trusted Sol because they needed to not only be sustainable and have energy efficiency. The solar lighting was resilient before resiliency was even a Department of Defense mantra. They wanted ways to put fixtures and lighting in places that they couldn't put all the infrastructure in, and they wanted it to be on in case of anything. So now what we have now is we have a lot of installed big existing bases with big infrastructure of our solar lighting, that the one thing they understand about Sol is they're not left standing holding the bag. They know they can call Sol today with something that was installed 20 years ago. In fact, I have a large base that has a whole bunch of Sol with fluorescent lights in it. And we are basically doing retrofit of 400 units on this base. And the retrofit kits are easier because the pole's already there. The panel's still good, but it's basically getting a higher efficiency LED fixture, a more updated controller, and it makes the process really easy. So they understand the commitment we have to our product and to the solution.
Nice. Well, and that kind of leads me into the next question. I think you've done a really good laying out the trenchless and the wireless aspect. But with solar, one of the things that's always been a caveat, and it was one of the tripping points for lighting, was efficacy and degradation.
Yep.
So you just mentioned, and if you can elaborate that, and maybe new panels, but the degradation of panels that have been out in the environment for 20 years, are you seeing a drop off? And is there a limitation to where that drop off is that falls below a certain threshold for the industry or solar in general?
Yeah. So in solar, and especially lighting, there's three main components: the panel that you're discussing, the battery pack, let's say, and the fixtures. So what really starts falling first is obviously the batteries, most likely at the 10, 15 year mark, are going to need replaced. The fixture is actually the next thing. And the efficacy of the fixtures that were put in 5, 10 years ago just isn't as good as what is today. And also the wattages and the power that you can get today out of a fixture you couldn't get 5 or 10 years ago. The panels, solar panels in general, haven't really changed a lot of their efficacy for probably the past 10 or 15 years. They're the one thing that really hasn't changed a lot in the entire scope of this. So solar panels that were stuck in 20 years ago are still operating pretty much at peak level, as long as they were manufactured with quality materials. I have yet done any retrofits at these large installations where we were actually even thinking about doing anything with the panels. Now, of course, knock on wood, tomorrow I'll get a call because one will be there that's 25 years old. You know what I mean? But I think, you know, general, we have a 10-year warranty. We state that panels usually last 20 to 25 years. Fixtures, you guys will laugh, the LEDs, people think they'll last forever, you know, but in all reality, 15 years or so, all depending on their hours. Batteries are going to keep changing. Nickel metal hydride, lead acid, lithium, it's going to be changing on who's manufacturing them. So again, it's this whole thing of a system and understanding how to put the system together correctly for the needs and what the customer is anticipating for the future life of it. If you just go buy an off-the-shelf, you know, guys, how it is, off-the-shelf troffer, no name, it's inexpensive, it'll light up for 3 years. There's plenty of solar stuff out there like that as well. If you're going to do quality LED lighting, you're going to hit the big 3 or the big 4 or 5 manufacturers. You're going to want to make sure they have good LED drivers in and things like that. That's how we're approaching this system. We're going to use high quality panels, high quality batteries. Poles, I mean, we don't make poles obviously, but we supply the HAPCO, the Valmont, or some of the fiberglass poles. And that's another caveat, or the customer can decide what they need to do.
Okay, well, that's awesome. And, you know, as you talked about the system, you know, 3 point, you know, with the batteries, the light fixture and the solar panel, I want to remind people in the ProCents and people that are watching this is if you're inside our environment, we have 3 points of contact as well. We have your solar, which is sold by Sunna. And then we also have LED Finance, who's going to get the deal financed for you if you have a big opportunity. And then Lucas Tax, so we can figure out the tax incentives that you get, because there are different tax strategies that fall outside of lighting that solar hit. So, and then also the controls aspect. So by engaging with the experts early on in the project, the better chance you have to win and to show people stuff that they're not seeing from everybody else. And that's the true difference with, you know, the ProCents, both buyers and sellers. And it's something I'm happy to be a part of. So appreciate it.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that again, I try to summarize what you have to say in just a very simple word, and that's system. It's very similar thought process to the way controls has to be considered as well. It's making sure you're in early enough so that you can actually, you know, do the design based on the application and the environment, make sure everything is right, and you can set those expectations, because that's a big missing component when it comes to system design, controls, solar or otherwise. If the end user doesn't understand what they're getting and they have kind of this abstract understanding of the overall solar or controls based implementation, you're setting yourself up for a really bad end of the project discussion, right? So setting those expectations, and then of course the support that goes on. I think you guys are doing it right, and I really hope that more people will connect with you, and we'll see some stuff you know, go positive your way over time. All right, this concludes today's Inside ProCents blog session. Again, today's focus was on one of our most recent additions. Right, that's an error. I wrote that down and didn't delete it. But he's one of my, well, I would say recent in the sense that we just started this thing in October. So I guess I'm not wrong. How's that? Mr. Keith Strausbaugh of Soul by Sunna Design. Great company, great support system, great product, and has some really interesting application solutions. Definitely a solar solution that creates cost reductions in installation costs as well as energy savings. It's a good combination. Getting connected with Keith to learn more is definitely recommended by ProCents. Thank you once again, sir, for your time and insights. Your offering is unique, it's focused, but it's proper. And I look forward to helping our members get to know you better as we go forward.
And I think, thank you guys. Remember, we will be at Light Fair along with you guys.
Right on. We're looking forward to it. We're very excited about getting there. So I guess that's another nice little pitch. If anybody's going and wants to learn more about Soul by Sunna, they have a large booth that they're going to be able to showcase their products. You can spend time with Keith and hang out and just get a better feel for kind of what they're doing. We are also going to be there, Matt, JR, and myself. So if you're interested to learn more about what we're doing and how we're doing it, and where your organization might fit within the mix, give us a shout and we'll go ahead and make sure we make time for you while we're all at the show. Matt, do you have anything for closing out?
I'm just excited for this. Hopefully people, jump on the train with solar and packaging it with their lighting, and then utilizing the other services that ProCents has to offer with such great partners like LED Finance and Lucas Taxes. So.
Right on, right on. All right, now as we close, we always do it with a bit of our ProCents culture leading the way. We believe here at ProCents that clear, consistent, and transparent communication practices solve 99% of the inefficiencies and challenges that occur in our daily buyer and seller interactions. So to all of our current and future members, the ProCents culture is simple and every member enters and adheres to the ProCents promise. Same-day responses to all communication requests, clear and consistent communication practices for efficient interactions, always turning inward for your organizational needs in a deliberate effort to support all participating members. And it should always go without saying, but as you know, I can never stop saying it. Do what you say you're going to do, always. At ProCents, we make connections that are sticky and that last. Then we get out of the way. We open those doors, and our participants always choose their own path, but they do it together. If you would like to know more about ProCents, check out our website, www.procents.com, or reach out to one of our leadership team members and get on our calendars. There is no better time than now to get on this train. Thank you all once again, and thank you again, Keith. We're very proud to have you on the team. Have a great day.